I don't remember what the program was that Google was trying to get fixed up. But anyway, the computers got to talking to themselves, and they invented their own language that even Google couldn't understand. The computers knew they were talking to each other, but Google couldn't understand the new language, the code that they'd never seen before. So Google didn't know what was going on. They just stopped the whole program. But and then I thought about that, and I said, well, hell, that's artificial intelligence. You know, science fiction, the movies where the machines took over. Very possible that could happen.
Yeah, that was that book I was talking about by Dan Brown, Origins, which I never finished all the way to the very end. I had to take it back to the library. But it was artificial intelligence. They had this model of, you know, like on a graph, like humans, and they declined, but this, you saw way back here, this other species grew, and then it just exponentially skyrocketed and took out humanity.
Yeah, and that's kind of scary to think about. But you know, this program I was watching, these ancient astronaut theorists is another theory they got, which again, the way they explain it to you makes so much sense. But they're saying with this artificial intelligence that it can get to the point where they do actually take over. But now what they're working on is being able to take the human mind, to take your mind and put it into one of these robotic, so your body will be almost indestructible. And the whole intention of that, because these theorists are saying that the aliens who actually started life on planet Earth, that we are actually part robotic ourselves. We just don't know it. But they've manipulated our DNA to where our bodies are not indestructible like that. But the theory is that to seed this planet, that's what they did, was they sent artificial intelligence to this planet to get life started. And they sent DNA through asteroids which hit the Earth and went into the sea, oceans, and whatever, and that's where the single-cell organisms then grew into all the different life forms, which eventually come out of the water onto the land and become all the different species. So that's what they're saying. It is our destiny that we will eventually have the artificial intelligence that we can take our minds and put it into these robotics, and they will be able to get on the spaceships and be able to travel, you know, because a human body, you know, can't last long enough to make those travels to the distant galaxies and whatever, but yet the robotics will. And it's our destiny, and that's how it works. That's how life keeps going. Is that we were seeded in this planet, and then we were being watched by the aliens and manipulated a little bit, and then every so often they go to certain people and give them information to help get to spearhead our technology to where we can catch up. But it's our destiny to eventually to catch up with the ones that made us, so that we can take our minds and robotics, and send them to all of the planets and whatever, and start this over on new planets. Very interesting theory.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it is. But I like that there was one of the guys. He had a piece of a meteorite, and of course, that's all way past my pay scale. But he was saying this particular meteorite. He said the makeup of this, it's got everything in there to create life. Now, how they figure all that shit out, I don't know either. But it's like, have we ever discussed the Urantia book? Are you familiar with the Urantia book?
Mm-mm.
It's this was back in the 1980s. A friend of mine brought that to my attention, and that's when Walden bookstores had a place out the mall, and I went out there and bought the book. It's something that you can't really find at the library or places like that, because the whole Urantia Foundation, who wrote the book, it's all just word of mouth. They don't advertise for their belief system or whatever. But it's a great big book, about that thick. It's in 3 different parts, and it's really, really hard reading, because all the pages are like onion skin thin, and it's a lot of reading on one page, and it's so deep that I remember when I first got the book, it's like I'd have to read that page over, you know, and a couple of times it'd go real slow. I couldn't speed read that one because you missed too much of it. But anyway, the whole theory on that was supposedly the book, the Urantia book, was written. This was information that was channeled through some fellow, don't remember his name. He was actually a dentist by profession, and they say that he was chosen from somewhere, and they relayed all this information through him while he was in a trance, kind of like Edgar Cayce used to go into those trances. It was interesting. I've still got the book, and if I can remember, I'll put that in the box with your stuff.
Okay.
So, but that would be, because I've had the book since 1988, and I haven't read the whole thing through myself. Matter of fact, I hadn't picked it up in years now, but it was interesting too, talking about how the earth was formed, how it was made, and the guy talks about the God concept, and in the very end, I think I vaguely remember that they say, as far as trying to discover what God is, that the best way they can, well, the closest thing that would come to explaining that to us as human beings would be, he is like a father. But, you know, again, a lot of interesting stuff in there. Some of it made sense, some of it didn't. But according to them, even back in the old days, there was more than black, white, red, and yellow people. There were actually a race of blue people and green and different colors. But over the years, as you know, things become one, it got down to the four colors: black, white, red, and yellow. And I read that about the people that were blue, and I thought, well, you know what? You watch some of those National Geographic shows, and some of those tribes that they're just now discovering out in the rainforest or whatever. They are so black, some of them look like they're almost blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Urantia Foundation, yeah.
I don't know if I can.
Anyway, that may be something you might have an interest in that, and you might not. Like I say, it's really tough reading. Just like everything else, though, I think it's all just control folly.
Probably.
Mm-hmm. But anything I can get a hold of like that right there. And of course, back in 1988, I was still so dumb. I thought I knew a lot, but I didn't know squat. So that, you know, I just gravitated toward anything like that.
Wow, that would be a very interesting read.
Oh yeah. Well, it's not something you pick up and sit down and just read through it.
Oh no.
No, it's like I say, I've had it since in the 1980s, and I haven't read everything in it. So if it's in 3 parts, the part that interested me the most was how the world was formed and how life came to be. I'll try to remember to put that. I got to get that done too. I keep putting that off, but yeah, I need to get me a big box and put all that stuff in there and put your name on it. He's similar to me going down the road to Ixalan. It's just like people, even though he loves everybody and he likes to be around people, it's just so many people don't understand him that he's found himself more alone than anything. And I said, well, that's what's happening to me. I mean, I went and visited some friends yesterday afternoon and sat there and talked to them for about an hour. And, you know, and I enjoyed the visit, seeing them, being with them, but you know what? It don't do really nothing for you, because you just talk about what they're doing, you know, their jobs, you know, the kids and all this, but it's not, it's just boring.
It's not that conversation on a deeper level.
Exactly.
That really, because few people even know how to have those conversations anymore.
That's why so many people are lonely, even if they're surrounded with other people, because I don't think they're getting, most people, I guess most people, I don't know most people, but I think a lot of people, they don't even know for sure what they want to talk about, but they're so guarded that they won't really sit and talk to somebody about how they're really feeling about anything because they don't want to be judged. And like you and I talking and putting this stuff out there for people, subjecting ourselves to people, those two dumbasses, talk about this and that don't make no sense. They're crazy now. It doesn't bother us, but I think so many people are like, I ain't going to tell you who I am. I'm going to keep that guarded. So they don't have to face rejection. And then I think that makes them lonely, that they keep all that inside and they don't want to share it. And I think that's a shame. I think you ought to have people you can talk to and be honest and tell them what you're really feeling, right? Just sitting around, I love to visit with anybody, but just sit around and talk about what's going on in the world today as far as politics and this and that and their jobs and the kids and all that. Yeah, that's all a good conversation, but after a while it's like they ain't got no meat to that conversation. Let's talk about something deep. Tell me something strange. I want to hear your weird side. That's what I want.
It's like that Nike thing going around right now. I just laugh. And I've made a couple of posts about it just because,
is that the one with the football?
Yeah.
Perkadick or whatever his name is.
Whatever his name is. I don't
that you know what? That guy, more power to him. He's following his path, and he felt like he needed to make a statement. You know what? I've got nothing in the world to say against that, if that's what the man wants to do. To me, I look at it like, if I was a football player and they're paying me all these big bucks, it's a privilege. I'm blessed. I'm making millions of dollars a year playing the game I like to play. I would keep my damn mouth shut. But now if he felt strong enough that he feels black people are being disrespected and treated different, which they are a lot of times, I have no problem with him kneeling at the anthem or not standing or whatever he's doing. That's more power to him. But why everybody gets so upset about it?
Isn't that supposed to be what America is all about? The freedom?
Right.
To do
right.
that?
Right.
The freedom to stand or kneel or sit?
Right. See, that
pledge or not pledge? I mean, isn't that the core supposed to be?
Well, I that's what I'm thinking. That you should,
as long as
it's a peaceful protest, I have no problem with that. Now, the people that protest by going out and setting their city on fire and looting and burning and all that, now I got a problem with that. I mean, I ain't got a problem with the people doing it, but I don't think that's the proper way. If you want to make a statement, political or whatever, I think you ought to be able to do that. And I don't get offended if somebody wants to kneel during the national anthem. It doesn't affect me one way or the other. If I was to go to a ball game and the national anthem come on, well, I'm going to stand up and take my hat off and show respect because that's just the normally accepted thing. But it's not something that's I don't care what the person next to me is doing at all, as long as he ain't bothering me. If he wants to get down, lay down while he's playing the national anthem, okay, go ahead. I really don't care. But I'm not going to get upset about what somebody else is doing. If they want to protest peacefully, they should have that right. But again, if I was him, it's kind of like what I call shitting in your own Easter basket. You're making millions of dollars and you're playing this game and you're very fortunate. Then I could let my protest go another way if I wanted to, instead of creating all this where it got him evidently fired from the NFL. And again, but you take that, I try to look at both sides. If I'm the owner of the football team and I want all of my players to stand for the national anthem and show respect, then I think I would have the right, if they want to protest, I would have the right to say, well, you're off the team. But see, that ain't the way it works for most people. The ones protesting see it their way. I got a right to protest. Well, they do. But at the same time, if you're working for this person and he says, well, that don't fit my agenda, so I got a right to fire you, then I think he ought to have that right too. And then that way you can work out some kind of compromise. And and if I was the football player making all these millions, and I saw it was creating this problem where the owner is mad at me saying, well, you ain't gonna be on my team if you're gonna be that way. Then again, go back to playing the game. You got to play the game of this control folly. How you play it any way you want to, but to make my life as simple, if I was making millions of dollars, happy what I was doing, I'd be more than happy to say, yes, sir, you're the owner of this team, so you don't want me kneeling. I'm going to stand and take my hat off, and I'll even sing along if you want me to, But that's just me. So, but everybody looks at it different. Everybody gets upset. Don't hate the guy for protesting. He's got a right to do that. I wouldn't do it that way if I was him, but I don't care. But then Nike comes along, and now they're making him a big ad, and I can see.
They were the third shoe company that offered him the job.
Well, I can see.
Nobody seems to care about that.
I didn't know that.
I only knew it because I saw something posted about
well, see,
it.
I can't blame Nike because that will be because here in the United States, that is one of the quickest ways to get people fired up is if they think you're disrespecting the country or the flag or the veterans. And I understand them looking at it that way because I got respect for everybody and people that serve in the military. I appreciate what they've done, the sacrifices they've made. I think again it's all unnecessary and it's all illusionary, but I'm going to show respect to the ones who choose to live that life and sacrifice. And they do make a lot of sacrifices. They leave their family behind and go overseas. And even though I don't believe in war and don't believe in fussing and fighting and all that, if it's going to be happening, then I'll respect the people that go along and try to correct that kind of stuff. But I don't know. It's just crazy. Shouldn't be no wars anyway. Everybody just learn to love everybody.
I know.
You want to run your country a certain way. All right, try to treat your people good. But I can see other governments stepping in to try to help the people who are being abused but I don't think that it's the job of any one government to try to control the world. Again, I love the United States. I love our democracy, but we're not free here either. Not in this illusion. No, it's not because the whole political system is flawed, and it all goes back to the haves, the have-nots, and the people who make the rules, the people who are in charge. You can be as free as you want. Another one of those paradoxes. You can be as free as you want to be, even though you're not free. I remember reading a book years and years ago. I don't remember who wrote it, but it was called "How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World." And now I've forgotten just about everything I read in that book. But I remember when I did read it, I thought that's pretty true. And I think that's pretty much what I'm trying to get through when I say you got to play the game. You can play it any way you want to. You can still be free, but that freedom's going to cost you. Just like this Kaepernick, he's free to do his protest, but look what it's cost him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's chosen to do that. So, if he never plays in the NFL again, but he'll probably wind up getting a lot of money from lawsuits and all this. The way things are set up now, I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, you play it any way you want to, but to find your freedom, you will have to pay a price. Just like me, I want to be free from being controlled by the government. But yet, if I was to just say, well, okay, I'm done with the government. I'm not going to pay any taxes. I'm not going to adhere to none of their rules. Then I would have to pay that price, right? Because if I made money and didn't pay taxes, then they'd get me for tax evasion. So again, you choose your freedom, but choose it wisely because you'll have to pay somewhere down the road for whatever it is you choose. So I choose to play the game, to abide by the rules as much as I can, keep a low profile so nobody comes looking for me, and don't start anything. Just try to mind my own business. And if I want to protest, I don't know. That's just not my thing. If I see a wrong and I think I can do something to make it right, then I would. But just to go out and protest something that I feel is not being handled right, that's just not me. I'm not a protester.
And if you don't learn to play the game, then you can't fix the game either.
Well, that's true.
I think so many people just don't even realize it's a game.
Yeah, well, they don't. I don't think so. We take ourselves too seriously, and we take our control finally too seriously. And it's, again, what we've talked about before. It's so simple to just love everybody and love everything and quit judging other people and quit judging things as right or wrong, because you don't know. To me, there really is no such thing as right or wrong. And again, that's another one of the paradoxes. If I tell most people I don't think there's anything such as right or wrong, then, well, you're crazier than hell, Ron. Look at the world and the stuff going on. You don't think that's wrong? And again, if most people are not willing to even think about that and try to understand what I'm saying, is you don't know what each individual needs to learn, or what they're here for, what their mission is, how they're expressing. So how can you say that this guy that's a serial killer, how can you say that he's wrong? Yeah, I wished he didn't go around killing people, and that's not a path I would want to take. But how can you say that's wrong? Because you don't really know in the whole scheme of things. Because I think again, what we've talked about before, I think that we are born as a human being, and our main objective is to remember who we are. Pure unconditional love. And we got to learn to love everything and everybody. And I don't think you can actually do that until you do quit judging everything as either right or wrong. Just take things as they are. Be the change you'd like to see, which is so simple. That's what I try to do. I don't like a serial killer. I don't like people that go around hurting other people. So I don't set out to protest what's going on or try to change these other people. I just try not to do that. I want to see people get along with everybody, so I try to get along with everybody. Be the change I want to see. To me, that's my form of protest, I guess. Yeah.